Okay, I was thinking about what to talk about next, and there are so many topics, whether present day or like mental health related or neurodiversity related or spiritually related. So I thought one of my first videos was about a dream I had about the sacred pineapple and about the new earth rising. Um, and so I thought I would talk about, like, I guess, thinking about initiations into the spirit world and how that looks for me. So, when I was 16, 15, 14, 15, 16, I used to do that thing where you fall asleep and then you feel like you're getting sucked out of your body, like, and it was like that, that whole paralysis thing where when I became aware of it, and I thought, well, I'm going to let myself sink into this feeling and see where I go, like what's happening, where am I going to go? Like, if I just fall asleep, great. If I don't, where the fuck am I going? So I remember doing that, and it was almost like I could never do it, because if I let myself sink into the feeling, it actually felt like I was being taken out of my body, and despite you know being so curious to see what that feeling was, it was actually fucking terrifying. So I never actually did it, but they were sort of the first things that used to happen to me that made me question, I don't know, normal things. Um, and then I did, in my dreams, I'd do a lot of like lucid dreaming, like flying, and like would be able to fly where I wanted to go, and manipulate my dreams. But they would always be dreams about like trying to catch a plane and getting stuck in the earth, or um, actually, talking of dreams, this was something else I was going to talk about, because it's so important. Um, like, I had a dream when it was the Boxing Day tsunami that happened in 2002, I think. Anyway, I dreamt that night that, well, when I woke up, I'd just been in a dream where I'd been hiding behind a wall, um, protecting myself from this tsunami. When I woke up, it was terrifying. Big wave was coming. And then when I woke up in the morning and turned on the news, I was living in England at the time. We woke up to news on Boxing Day of this terrible tsunami that, basically wiped out uh, so many people. And I forget the Indonesian Boxing Day tsunami. Um, so I was like, oh, I literally dreamt that. I had a premonition, but it wasn't even a premonition. I was dreaming it as it was happening because of the time difference. So while we were asleep, it was daytime there, and it was actually happening. So that was another significant time. But one of my favourite ones and most personal ones, and one of my most proudest ones, is not because of the circumstance. The circumstance is pretty sad, but it's to do with Amy Winehouse, and I hope Amy Winehouse doesn't mind me talking about her. I'm sure she doesn't mind because we're kind of connected in this way. But when Amy Winehouse passed away, and I knew her music. I wouldn't say I was like the best fan, but obviously she was, escalating with like drug use, and I was probably going to lots of festivals. So she was on the music scene and in the news a lot. So she was a well loved person, and also a great singer and like a real badass. Um, and when she passed away, I had a dream. I don't know whether it was the night she passed away. I think it was a bit later, like a few days later. But I basically had a dream that I was in her apartment. She used to live in Camden, which I had been to quite a lot of times. But I had a dream that I was in Camden in her apartment that I'd never been to before. I had no idea what it was like inside. But I was in there, I think on my own, and there were people trying to break in, and I was protecting her bloody songwriting book, right? Um, I can't remember all the specifics of the dream. I know there were people banging down the doorway, and I had this book. I remember it being white, and I had it in my arms again, like the thick of pineapple. But I basically had to scare these people away, and I would not let them have the songbook, um, which is a random dream. And I was just thinking, then obviously, like, I didn't do very well in that dream, because on the news a couple of days later, it turned out that someone after she passed away, obviously the house is empty. People had tried to break in, and they had stolen her songbook, her writing book, her songwriting book. Um, and I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I had that exact dream where I was trying to protect the songbook. Now, I have to think whether or not they did actually succeed in taking it, because if they did, I tried my hardest, and if they didn't, I saved it. And so I thought, oh, that's amazing, because I've tapped into some sort of like celebrities world, and real events that are happening, and here I am like fighting in the spiritual realm in my dreams, and that was pretty cool. Another dream I've had, well, I've had so many of these types of dreams, and I haven't had them for years now, but I feel like this was the, I feel like people might resonate with the initiations of like how you are drawn into the spiritual world, and you know, the warnings, or the, not warnings, but the knocks you get to that awaken you. I had so many dreams where I would be taking people around a house. It was always a house that I didn't know. It was always like a really old, rickety, like 10-story house with attics and, you know, old school buildings. I find it really hard to just look at the camera. I've got to just look at myself. But there were so many dreams, but I would be like taking people around a house, and then there'd be one particular room where the door was closed, or a dark archway that was open, and there'd be just like dark, terrifying black energy that was just fucking demonistic and dark and like terrifying. And I would be the one who's like would be steering people, like, you know, not to go in there. And if we were walking, you know, if we were with a group of people, I was with a group of people, and we're too close, like I would be the one like battling off, like holding it, like people be behind me, and I'd be battling off the dark force to protect everybody. And it was like I always managed to do it, but it was like I woke up sometimes like, fuck me, I'm exhausted. I've just been like, what is it, Obi-Wan Kenobi? I've never seen those movies, but fucking Jedi Knight in the night time, fighting off these like dark forces that were just gonna, I don't know, kill us, consume us, whatever. And that's when I started realizing, like, oh, okay, you know, and I would see other people talking about this, not people that I hang out with every day, but I have since seen people talking about it. You know, the spiritual warrior who does things in the energetic realm, and that's where I live I live so much of my life in the energetic realm that sometimes it's hard for me to ground in the physical realm. But you know, you realise like, oh, these are gifts that are bestowed upon me. I've got an important job to do, and there's not many people I talk to about it because they would think I was batshit crazy. But I'm going to talk about it now because it seems like lots of people talk about this, and it's a lot more common than we think. And obviously with awakenings that are happening and people's consciousness, you know, we're going to know more and more about this sort of stuff, and more people are going to be doing this. And also it might be helpful for people who are going through this at the moment. And you know, a lot of people who might go through this in their dreams are probably people that are afflicted with some mental health issues in their daily life, or deep thinkers, or just, you know, recognize patterns in people, have intuitive knowing, see things, you know, maybe have some wrong assumptions about a lot of things, which I seem to do. But you know, that's when you realize that you are a person of the light. And I, you know, years ago I'd be like, oh, love and light, you know, not warm regards anymore. At the end of an email it's like love and light, and I'd be like, oh, fuck off, that's so naff, like it's just too naff. And so I never wanted to be part of that crowd, and I still don't. But realizing like, oh, I'm a warrior of the light, and that means of the love, ironically, and of God and higher nature. So I've never been someone who's religious like that, but I made a pledge somewhere along these years, and I've said it time and time again out loud, I'm here to serve God, universe, source, spirit. That's what I'm here to do. You've told me that in my dream, you've shown me that. I do it in my energetic realm, and I do it on the physical plane. That's my job. So that's another hidden gem. Thanks for listening.